Francis, owner of Impact Television and Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM Ibadan. To our followers on radio, of course, it's still your darling program. I know you'll be waiting for the sing tune, but of course, it's still the same program. On Impact Point, we talk about how the actions and inactions of those that are leading us affect our lives. On this program, we talk about how the actions and the inactions of those of us that are following the leaders affect the polity. And so yesterday, it became public that President Bola Tinubu is contemplating establishing another ministry that will see to the affairs of livestock farming in Nigeria. Why is the president contemplating creating a livestock ministry? According to report, it is to put an end to elders farmers clashes. No doubt Nigeria is currently experiencing food crisis. There is food insecurity in the land. Many Nigerians cannot feed. And so we want to look at this proposed livestock ministry. Is that what is needed? Establishing another ministry, is that the way to go? Okay, if it is the way to go, what should be the function of this ministry? These and many other issues we will be looking at on the program today. And at the appropriate time, the phone lines will be opened so that you can be part of the program. So we're going to be receiving calls both on television and on radio. I have with me our in-house public affairs analyst, Sumbo Badejoko. Sumbo Badejoko, a very good morning to you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is good having you on the program this morning. Okay, so the proposed livestock ministry that has been rumored that the president intends to establish. What's your take on this?
Well, my take is not what we should even be talking about now. We should try and look at the motive behind it. Yes, for ages, we've always been having these farmer header issues, which has become more or less a pandemic on our land. And if we do not forget, it is this same crisis that gave birth to cattle rustling and now metamorphosed to banditry in the Northwest. And of course, you look at all of this, government have made series of attempts aside creation of ministry to try and solve this. I remember the Buhari administration first of all came up with this Ruga thing, rural grazing area. And that was quashed at the state level. Politicians spoke against this, opposition hijacked it and all of that. So they came up with another modified cattle colony, which also did not see the light of the day. And they modified that to be National Livestock Development or whatever. They came up with that too. I think that is what is currently being implemented. And only few states have kind of subscribed to it. Kano and one other state are doing fine when it comes to setting up areas where cattle will be and not. And come to think of it, when we say livestock, basically, what comes to our mind is cattle. But livestock includes the sheep, the goats, even the birds that we also nurse. It has to do with poultry too. So, but we look at all of this over the years. These things have not been developed. In the days of the regions, I remember the late Awolowo set up dairy farms where cattle are, nurtured for dairy, production of dairy products, and milks were served in bottles, fresh milks. But most of the dairy farms are not in existence anymore. The one in Lagos has become a school and the local government headquarters. Where we are now used to be one, and all across board. I wouldn't know what is happening in other regions, but I can speak of the Southwest. You understand? So all these things are there. At the state level, governors have not really done much. They play more of politics and lip service, especially southern governors. The northern governors realize that, well, agriculture is maybe what they can use as more of IGR, and The federal government's interventions that had gone, you've seen them more successful in the north. Is it Fadama you want to talk about? Is it even the OFN that was put in place during Obasanjo?
Operation Feed the Nation.
Operation Feed the Nation. You have all these things, the irrigation process, river basin authorities, the dams. We have more dams in the north than the south. And all these things were targeted at agriculture, and that's why they have dry season farming and of course the normal planting.
But you just blame the southern governors for not doing enough in terms of agricultural input or development, as it were. But don't you think that perhaps it's like that in the southern part of the country, because the Federal Ministry of Agriculture focuses or tends to focus more on the northern part of the country when it comes to budgetary allocation, and the disbursement, as it were. It will interest you to know that billions of naira every year is voted for irrigation, right? In the northern part of the country, in the southern part of the country, hardly do states enjoy such. So why blaming the southern governors for not doing enough? Don't you think that it could be because most of the interventions are majorly focused in the northern part?
To correct an impression, it's not a matter of blaming the southern governors. It's a matter of stating the obvious. Now you say federal government have been funding the north. The truth of the matter is those things are also available for the southern governors too. They just don't access it because of lack of interest, perhaps. You understand? When we say agriculture, it's a concurrent matter. It is not an exclusive reserve of the federal government. And as far as the facts there are concerned, before federal government can even set up a farm in a state, the governor must subscribe to it. They are the landlords. They are the ones that choose to use their land for other purposes. You understand? The sporadic real estate development taking place in the south is not taking place in the north. Rather, agriculture is what is the order of the day there. It is about priorities. What the southern governors have prioritized is not agriculture. So nobody is blaming them. It is the obvious. You understand what you are saying? And like I think I mentioned this on radio this morning, agriculture is not something you can play politics with. It will expose you. You cannot lie that you are funding it. You will be exposed. Because if you put money there, you see results. Except those money are stolen. You understand? That's why the Anchor Borrowers Program failed. Because despite the money that was put there, the wrong set of people were the beneficiary of this money, and that's why it became a failure. You understand? That's why it was exposed that if you have put the Anchor Borrowers program in place for rice production, how come we are still buying a bag of rice for over 70,000 naira? You understand? That is the exposure there. You cannot lie in agriculture. You understand? I think the federal government is realizing that, okay, if livestock production is conflicting with crop production, let us separate them. That is what I think is the idea. But personally, if you ask me, why do we need a ministry? I don't think we need a ministry to run that. An agency would have been enough, because ministry is saying bureaucracy. You want to set up a bureaucracy, and in a democracy, the main reason why there is slow decision making is because of bureaucracy. You understand? And if you are having an emergency, we have a pending food crisis, and now you want to tackle it by setting up another bureaucracy, that means you are not serious.
But the president is not even looking at livestock alone. He's also looking at, dairy farming. Egg is so important, but not many Nigerians can afford eggs again. Although we learned some state governments, are making certain interventions. But of course, as much as these governors make, especially in the southern part of the country, you see the price of egg still going up. So the president is also looking at this. And one of the reasons why analysts like you have attributed to the hunger in the land is because of this incessant farmer others clashes. So that is also in consideration. The president is also looking at a way, to stem the tide, so that when there is peace on the farms, because many farmers, allegedly have been, or reportedly have been, displaced from their farms. You talk of Benue State, which is the food basket of this country. Of course, not many people are on farms. You talk of Plateau State. So the president, in his wisdom, is trying to solve these problems. But when you said that, no, a ministry is not needed, but maybe an agency, one would be surprised.
Yes, I said agency, or better still, a commission that will be under the presidency. Because when you say ministry, there will always be a point of conflict with the existing Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. You understand? So and when there is conflict, there will be clashes of interest, and you find the two ministers or four ministers. Currently, we have two ministers in agriculture, or in charge of agriculture, and we are complaining. Meaning that what? We don't need more than one minister. When the current president of the AFDB was the Minister of Agriculture, in fact, he was more or less the last active agriculture minister that we've had in this country. Yes, Aldo Ogbeda succeeded him to also try to do one or two things. But immediately he left, all those who have been ministers of agriculture have been failure. And that's why we are where we are. Now, livestock, we only need an agency that would be able to, that the federal government can manage directly.
Not a ministry.
Because ministry would mean that you want to create a bureaucracy like I talk about. Bureaucracy slows things down. You understand? And we are in an emergency. We don't need anything to be slowed down. We need quick decision making. We need things to move very fast. But I said earlier, and that is the truth, in the position of the law of the land, agriculture is a concurrent affair. So even if the ministry or the agency, or they call it a commission, would come up, governors will have to key into it. They must subscribe to whatever idea is coming. If they are going to say livestock ministry, that means they want to set up government ranches.
And this has been kicked against.
And that has been over the years criticized. But the truth of the matter is, we need them.
Ranches.
You cannot go do livestock without ranch.
But the criticisms that greeted that plan at that time was born out of the fact that people would argue that those that are in this business, that are in this type of farming, they are in business. How come the government would be the one to secure land for ranching? How come other people who are in other aspects of farming are not being helped? So, especially under the watch of the then President Muhammadu Buhari, a lot of people, especially from the southern part of the country, thought that it was to favor a particular group of people, and so they kicked against it. So if ranches are needed, who bears the brunt? Who support it? Has anybody come to the south? I mean, someone who is interested in livestock farming, and he tried purchasing land and he was denied. Why should the government be the one to spearhead it? That's been the grounds of people from the southern part of the country.
And if you look at it very well, you see the obvious insincerity on the part of those who are making that noise. They achieved their aim then. If crop farmers could get fertilizers from government, why would you say it will be wrong for the government to set up ranches? You understand? It's a matter, why are we giving land to developers to build houses that will not be occupied? Why can't such ones be, at least a few of them, be just set aside for ranches? You cut it out, make it a form of ranch estate, if you may use that word, where all the cattle within a particular region of a state or a district of a state would be settled. That, in a way, you have confined them to a particular location. Other farming activities going up in other places will be secured. Farmers will welcome this idea, but the government must really give them a blueprint. Now, part of what was used as excuse back then Remember, I supported Ruga. If you still remember, on this same program, I spoke in favor of Ruga, and we were together. I was with a person that kicked against it, and I asked the person one question that very day, which he did not answer. And that's the same question that most of those who kicked against Ruga did not answer. Okay, if you say no to Ruga, give us an alternative to it. You understand? They couldn't come up with any. And look at the time Ruga was criticized. Look at how worse the problem had gone since that time. Suppose it has been done, would have forgotten about it, because all those states who are coming up with anti-grazing, open grazing law would have been justified, because you cannot have such a law without having a grazing area or a place reserved, a ranch for cattle to concentrate. You understand? It's conflicting each other. You're saying open grazing, and you don't have a restricted area where grazing will be allowed.
And the fear of those who criticized it at that time was, this inexplicable interest of the federal government at that time in people's land. The Land Use Act 1978 vests the ownership of land in state governors, meaning that federal government, has no land. The same thing with the Water Resources Bill that was, vehemently kicked against. These two policies of the government did not see the light of the day because there is this mutual suspicion, and this suspicion is still very rife. But I hope what Nigerians rejected, right, what they didn't take from former President Muhammadu Buhari, I hope it is not what President Bola Tinubu is trying to bring back through the back door.
The truth of the matter then was this: President Buhari is a Fulani man. Cattle rearing business, people believe in the outlook that it's a Fulani business. But I tell you today, and I stand to be corrected, let's narrow down to Oyo State. 90% of any cattle you see in Oyo State are owned by people in Oyo State. They only employ the services of these Fulani guys because they are skilled in rearing this cattle. You understand? We have some other people skilled in other aspects of meat processing, dairy processing, but when it comes to the act of rearing cattle, grazing the cattle, these guys are skilled. They employ their services. So when you see a Fulani man with his stick or rod rearing about 100 cattle, he's not the one that owns them. The owner is somewhere in one palace, because most of our monarchs too, most of our retired generals too, most of our established businessmen too, most of our politicians too are owners of this cattle. They are the real owners. You understand? Can you now see the hypocrisy? And a good number of the owners of cattle even spoke against it then, something that they will benefit from, just to play cheap politics. That is the truth. Now, that kind of narrative will not come the way it came then, because you have a Yoruba man there as the president coming up with the idea. Even though some people will say he's trying to pacify the North. But the truth of the matter is, do we need this thing or not? If we have them in place, will it solve the problem of insecurity in farm in a way or not? Because the first set of herders with gun were the cattle rearers. And what gave back to it? Some other guys started engaging in what we call cattle rustling. Those ones were not Fulanis. They will rustle cattle and go and sell at another distant location. To break it down for our listeners who may not understand what rustling means, rustling in simple English means stealing of cattle that doesn't belong to you. So they will steal cattle, move them to another location. If you have ever seen it, they move in the night. You understand? There was a day I encountered them. I was traveling to my own town. I got stranded. I had to go back because I couldn't go to Lagos then. So around 12 p.m. when we were entering the town, we just saw flashes of flashlights, trying to stop the vehicle, that we should stop. So we stopped the vehicle. I came out of the vehicle. I said, stay here. I said, no, if these are robbers, I cannot allow them to meet me in a place where I have not be comfortable. So we later realized that they were cattle elders who are moving those cattle. And the cattle I saw that night they were more than 2,000, because we stood there for them to move for more than 30 minutes. Massive, and that is how they move. And anyway, you can imagine the farmland that 2,000 cattle will march on. What do you think will become of that place? That is the problem that those who are farming, who have experienced this thing, that is what they have gained. And this is supposed to solve the problem. Botswana, for instance, the cattle in that country is more than what we have here. Have you ever heard in the news that there is a farmer header crisis in Botswana? That is African country. Let's go to Netherlands. Netherlands is where we import our milk or dairy product from. You understand? I don't want to be mentioning the name of the company, but those of us who drink milk, we know how advanced they are. The cattle they have, I don't have the actual figures, so I cannot say they are more than what we have in Nigeria. But the fact that Netherlands is a smaller country, not as big as our southwest, and they could manage their cattle, the kind of negative report that we hear here, that even aircraft run into cattle on the wrong way, you don't have it there. You will go to Netherlands, you will not see cattle anywhere, and they have enormous amount of cattle. The United States of America, they are also into cattle business. They have ranches over there. More than 1/4 of Texas, their farmland is ranch. So when you have that in place in advanced country, what stops us from copying it? It's a good idea. What I just don't like about the whole thing is making a ministry. I don't they will never achieve any result, because ministry means that you put the same set of civil servants who have been doing what they know how to do, present fat budgets, look for a way out to not implement the budget, and of course look for a way out to steal the money. That is not going to work. Set up an agency that will be smaller in size, that you can manage effectively, and let them have branches whichever state that is ready to give out the land for the settlement of these ranches.
Okay, so when you look at the name, it's still a proposal, though the president spoke about it yesterday at a fora. But when you look at the name, Livestock Development Ministry, would you not say that perhaps the government is taking sides? Or if someone comes up accusing the president or the federal government of taking sides, won't the person be justified? Why not Livestock Sedentary Farmers Development? Because in Nigeria, people are sensitive, to names. So tomorrow when you get to hear, oh, the government is backing, and the fear is that this was exactly what a cross-section of Nigerians, kicked against during the Buhari's regime. So Livestock Development Ministry, it presupposes or it suggests that perhaps the government will be focusing on these migrant herders, leaving the sedentary farmers as they were.
That is where you and I come in, as well as opposition leaders, civil society organizations who have voices, whom people believe in, to really get the attention of the government. Come on, give us the breakdown of this thing, so we'll know how to explain to the people. If the failure of the government will be not breaking it down clear enough, you understand? But once they do that, it is our responsibility to explain to people and make them understand it. You understand? Livestock is good enough a term. When we say livestock, it's not limited to cattle. And we have this challenge in the southwest that people don't talk about. Rearing of goats and sheep, goats especially. You find in the neighborhood, there's another person that owns some goats there. Goats eat leaves. They are herbivorous animals. You have planted maize and cassava. Before you know what is happening, a goat is still in there and has eaten all the lunch. You understand? And nothing would happen, because the Fulanis are not known to be rearing that kind of goats. It's our own neighborhood goats. What the owner of the farm would do, maybe look for a stick and injure the goats, and that will cause another problem. We have that one too. which is here. But when an agency is to be set up like that, there must be legislative backing. As we speak, there is a bill to put an end to open grazing in the National Assembly. I wouldn't know the reading stage it is now,
because
but I know it has passed second.
I was coming there. I wanted to refer you to, the heated debate that took place on the floor of the Senate. Senator Adamu Alero, a former governor of Kebbi State, who also is representing, I think, Kebbi Central in the Senate, and Danjuma Goje, Senator Danjuma Goje, a former governor of also in the Senate. They both spoke vehemently against a particular bill that a senator in Benue State is sponsoring. This bill, is saying that, come, let's have, I think, Ranches Commission bill or something. But they kicked against it, these two lawmakers, Senator Alero and Senator Goje. They kicked against it. And that was what led to Senator Akpabio saying that, come, are you saying that cows, have rights like humans in Nigeria too? I'm sure you must have heard that.
Of
so
course,
isn't it conflicting when you look at what is going on presently? But of course, all the lawmakers from Benue State, all the senators from Benue State and Plateau State, they supported, that particular bill because they feel the brunt. In Benue State, as we speak, reportedly many people have been displaced, not only from their farmland, but even from their houses. But again, when you look at what is going on, some persons will say that farmers are not being displaced because of agricultural purposes, but because some persons are really interested in other things apart from agriculture. You look at Plateau State, for instance, it's not as if cattle, are being rustled at all times. It's not as if farmers are being displaced. They will just attack, these non-state actors will just attack these villages and they will kill and maim people. So when you look at such a development, will you still convincingly say that no, some persons are after farming activities in Nigeria, or it goes beyond, farming being targeted or farmers being targeted?
The origin of the whole thing has been farmer header crisis. Now, narrowing it down to those group of senators, those that are for the proposal are known to be farmers. They come from the food baskets of the nation. While the other two were former governors who also own farms, and of course they will have large herds of cattle. And they fear from cattle owners, not just in the north, but right down here in the south too, is this. Ranching is expensive. They don't want to invest in it. So they need government intervention, but they are not sincere enough to come out openly about it. And that is the hypocrisy I talked about earlier. You understand? They will all benefit from this thing. And this one coming, if an executive bill is coming from the presidency, you and I know what will happen to that bill. It's going to pass. Based on what we have been witnessing from this assembly since last year. So whether Alero or Goje likes it or not, all they need to do is to get them convinced that yes, you benefit from it. They may even have one of their two kinsmen to be part of those who will kickstart the commission.
Why
they will keep quiet.
Why this special attention about cattle in Nigeria? That's the worry of some persons. So I would give it, the debate was so intense on the floor of the Senate to the extent that Senator Alero and Senator Goje were equating the right of humans to that of, because according to them, if you are talking about a commission that we supervise ranching in Nigeria, then the movement of these herders will be restricted, and according to them, it's an infringement on their human rights, as it were. But another question on the table is, why this attachment to cattle in Nigeria? Why are cattle being given this, special attention by the government, especially at the federal level?
You want me to repeat what I've said? The reason is because of the problems that cattle rearing have created. It has become endemic.
Not even the economic value.
It's affecting the agricultural output, and that is economy. It is. Farmers who have been victim of this will tell you what they have gone through. People have lost millions.
But you're not even talking about the economic value of cattle itself. In some states, in Oyo State, I think daily it was said that
is properly,
over 2,000
do you know
cows.
Cattle can be exported if properly managed. You understand? You're asking the economy. Let's begin to talk economics now. Cattle as a whole can be exported. You can milk them and process and export the dairy product. You understand? You can kill it. You understand? Process the meat for exports. So it has its own value chain. That cattle you are seeing has its own value chain. But the problem is, over the time, we don't look at the business angle to these things. We always focus on the sentimental thing. But they are conflicting each other, and it's not something that just starts now. Our Christian brothers will agree. In the days of Abraham, why did Abraham separate from Lot? Because their headers were clashing. So that's okay, don't worry, you don't have to fight over this land. Look around you, see any land that is comfortable, go there. I will stay wherever, go to the other way. And they settled it amicably. You understand? But what was used to settle the dispute? Allocation of land. And that is what this thing is going to be talking about.
The national ranching policy failed under the watch of Mahmoud Buhari because state governments were not ready to let go of their land.
It's not really the state government too. Underneath, even states whose governor supported it, opposition figures and other stakeholders kicked against it, and the governors know that, especially those who are high in second term then, had to listen to their people, and that was why it failed. You understand? It's not that that's why I said there are so many hypocrisy. There's a particular monarch here in Oyo State, for instance, who is now late. If you have an idea of the number of cattle that he has, you will be amazed. And these are same cattle that you see all about in those places where people are complaining that Fulani are giving them problem in their farms, thinking that it's one malam that owns all the cattle from the north because the man holding the stick is not a Yoruba man. Do you understand? Ditto to the southeast, ditto to every other place that you find this cattle. It's not all the cattle that come from Sokoto or Kano.
So let's assume the president or the presidency or the federal government chooses to establish the Livestock Development Ministry. You have said that is not what is needed. We only need an agency. Should the federal government establish, a ministry for it? Don't you think that that ministry will need the support of state governments? If states are not ready to let go of their land, because many people will narrow these down to ranching being embraced.
I've said that earlier.
What will happen?
I've said that earlier. It's going to you cannot do it independent of the government. I said it earlier. The opening remark, I said this: whatever they decide to do, agency, commission, ministry, the governors must key into it.
If governors refuse to let go of lands,
and it will be on record
that
they are the ones not ready to help the government, federal government, to solve the problem. You understand? They are the ones doing state mass burial when this thing gets to that level of mass killing. They are the ones that their own farmers are crying to lament.
But state governments are saying we can solve this problem two ways. You remember some governors had advocated that allow farmers to bear arms too, and you discover that this nonsense, if it is one, will stop. Some governors are canvassing for the creation of state police, that if we have police, right, at the state level, we'll be able to deal with these rather than centralizing. This is coming at a time when many people are calling for the decentralization of the security architecture of this nation. But of course, it appears the federal government is still walking deep down into this centralization thing. So how do you expect, the state governments to cooperate?
How sincere are these state governments with all what you're asking them to cooperate upon? The ones asking for state police, half of them are saying they cannot fund it. You heard when the governor of Imo says that a state said the other day that they cannot fund state police. You understand? And if you remember, my immediate reaction was that no, that is a lie. That their security vote is enough to fund state police. That even the federal government police, as we speak, 80% of the operational vehicles that they have are provided to them by the government.
But it will suggest that perhaps the government has not been listening to the people, thinking of a national ministry that will solve others farmers clashes. People are talking about the need to decentralize the business of governance in Nigeria, and now you still want to solve this problem up there. Won't it be counterproductive with indeed? People are calling for restructuring.
It's not only the three key things that affect our life directly are all concurrent matters.
Which are?
Agriculture, education, health.
So why is there a federal ministry of agriculture?
Do you understand?
Why?
There is also a federal ministry of health. There is a federal ministry of education.
Why?
You understand? They all affect. But we always shout the federal government. How many? And federal government are meant to take care of the tertiary aspects for the education and for the health. For agriculture, they are meant to give policy direction. The real work, primary and secondary, crop rotation, allocation of land, are state affairs. Do you know why governors are not doing these things? There is no money in agriculture as they have in real estate and road constructions. That is why they will prefer to do those ones and not fund agriculture. Like I said earlier, I repeated this, I've said it more than 100 times between yesterday and today. Agriculture, you cannot hide. Put money there, you will see results. Do you understand? So that is the problem on ground. Insincerity on the part of the states. This program cannot succeed without the support of the states.
Okay, let me bring the people into the conversation. You can be part of this program by calling any of these numbers that I'm going to reel out. 0902 280 9257, 0811 052 6487, 0907 072 0980. The federal government is planning to establish Livestock Development Ministry. What is your take on this? This is coming at a time when many people believe that restructuring should take place, but the federal government seems to be going deep neck into centralization. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Alaji Oladekolawa, calling from Godalio Estate, Olobi.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Personally, I disagree with the idea of establishing the ministry. There can be a commission, but what I suspect is that our president is trying to appease the minds of the northerners. You know, for him to have to succeed come 2027. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much. That's the thought of Alaji Oladekolawa. You can also be part of this program, calling and let's know what your take is. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Ano.
Thank you.
Your efforts in this nation will never be in vain, and your guests will be treated best.
Amen. Thank you.
I'm Wale from Edition.
Wale from Edition, welcome.
You see, thank you. You see, if government can come up with this policy, it will have large employment for the Nigerians. Forget about the discrepancy, the discrepancy in that system, in that policy. Whoever make anything, so far the constitution will be there and they will implement it. It will cope the necessary cleaning. And then there are some security agencies in place, animal security people, like a mounted troop, who can ask ID about it. They will give enough horses that will be monitoring all disturbances people. So may God be with Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Wale from Idishin. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
A very good morning to you, sir.
God bless you.
Amen.
Amen.
Praise you for the line.
Freddie Akubu, you're welcome.
I broke my heart for the joy of Simba and Larry. Thank you, Pepper. You have fully challenged me in my academic pursuit. Now, what I want to say is that you have said it. It's not for the governors. I want serious. In the last set alone, we have 6 research institutes. Now, if you go to that shelf, you see things for yourself. Once they are not going to benefit from me personally, they don't do. Olapade Akuro of Blessed Memory, let me wonder. It's so what I was doing. You can go for it, sir. And instead, try out what I used to do. People about royal, I'm telling you, sir, are you getting low? Can feed people the truth. With all forms of crops. That I know. Sir, these people look at it. Who advised the governor to go and open up an open garden? And as I speak with you, the governor has people in forestry that can advise him. Friends, of course, it's personal friends that I know. And our traders we speak are not functional forestry lobbies. Check it. But to set this country in Hamas, our state is creating housing here and there. It's unfortunate.
All right.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Freddie Akubu. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
A very good morning to you.
I am Primate Shitu from Ijebu in Ogun State.
Primate, you're welcome, sir.
Livestock Development Ministry is the solution. At the discussion table, we have taken care of so many things that may be the fear of Nigerians. And like our analysts demanded, an authority will be speaking very soon. I am not appointed to speak. The only fear we have discussed on that table is just 1, 2, 3. Now, one of the fears is a security outfit, which we demand that there should be a security outfit to work with that ministry, entirely new one. A new security outfit that will arrest and detain any kind of livestock. Then even that will also secure farm and farmers. But the excuse is that the economy realities will not be able to pay that for now. So we have chosen also to wait. And then advise people that want to go into this thing to find their own security themselves. Now the second problem we have discussed on that table is cattle route and track that has been taken over by Nigerians. From any part of the world that you are bringing cattle into Nigeria, they have their route, they have their ways. Their ways and their normal route has been taken over by Nigerians. Then what do you expect the cattle herdsmen to do? The only thing is to push them to another route, which is not their route. And that is why your guest is experiencing them being on the highway. Because the highway is not their route. So we now have to track that and bring that back. The third problem we came to see is their cattle stations. There is no one listening now that does not know the Agbo Malu in his own state in those days. The Oyo people know their own Agbo Malu. The Goshians know where they drop them. From any place they are coming, they will enter that Agbo Malu.
finally, the issue of species. Not all cows or you can cage. Not all dogs. Not all kind of maybe goat you can cage. For instance, if you look at the cow now, when we are on that discussion table, you have the white Fulani, the Kuturu, the Koteko, Erela, you have the foreign cows, you have the special breed. Not all of them can be caged. Some of them must bring the faith of freedom to be able to be alive. That will be discussion for another day. In my disagreement, my dear brother, as a state, we cannot fund state police. It must be clear to you that we are running and funding 11 security outfits in Ogun State already. Right from Udua, OPC, to VGN and to the rest. We have 11 security outfits we are funded. Do you want to kill us? Please, we cannot fund state police along with the 11 existing ones. They are registered security outfits and they are working perfectly in Ogun State. Being funded by the state government.
All right.
How do you want to add the Nigerian police to that again? Is this Ogun State police?
All right.
By the time you make it state police, who will sponsor it? Who will finance it with the 11 existing ones? Good morning.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister Olashitu. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Bola from Ido.
Bola from Ido, welcome.
I like the discussion this morning, and it's unfortunately, Baba Prime Minister, you are mixing it out. I'm a registered animal scientist. All what you roll out about, you cannot cage cow, you cannot do this, you cannot that, is a complete lie. We are not trained like that in the university. What is the population of cattle in Nigeria that demanded that they should be roaming around? Nigeria is not the number one. Nigeria is not the number 1 to 10 in the whole of the world. Nigeria is not number 1 to 10 in cattle production in Africa. So what are you talking about? Is it the way they destroy other people's places in other countries? In Egypt, in South Africa? The cattle destroy their means of livelihood. People should have cattle business is a private business all over the world. You must keep them. People that read crops, people that read forage, there is a course called range management. These people, their purpose is to use their product to feed cattle industry. They will cut their grasses, they will bale it, they will dry it, and sell it to cattle people. The way poultry people are buying feed for their poultry. So what are we talking about in Nigeria? So cattle should still be roaming around the whole of the country.
All right. Thank you so much, Bola from Ido, for your time on the program. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Ola from Owodo.
Ola, you're welcome.
Yes, sir. To me, I don't think there is need for any land ministry.
Oh, okay. There should not be Livestock Development Ministry.
Yes. Just the Department of Ministry of Agriculture is enough to handle that. Before you know it now, they will put a minister there, they will say first minister, second minister. Also, the wastage we are talking about, what are the two ministers doing with the ministry? So, it's unnecessary for now.
Okay.
Let the Department of the Ministry of Agriculture handle that. And even if you establish that livestock ministry, will it meet the purpose of which it is? Will it bring peace in the farmland? Will it meet the purpose of which it is going to be established? Those are the things that we should ask ourselves. It is not the cow that is the problem. It is the handlers of the cow that are causing this problem.
Okay.
If you take open grazing, close open grazing, or make laws to ban open grazing, there will be implement those laws. There will be a place in the farm. There will be a relative peace in the farm. People will have to go to their farm and work. But now somebody will do the work, other person will carry their cows and destroy it.
Okay.
It's the same government. So it is not the issue of creating another ministry.
Okay.
It's the issue of creating laws and implementing those laws.
All right.
Handlers of the cows are the problem.
Okay.
Create laws to handle the handlers of the cows.
All right.
The cows cannot destroy farmland by themselves. It is the handlers that are causing it.
Okay.
God is our land.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Ola. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is John, calling from Owo State.
John from Uwe, you're welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
The Ministry of Livestock. Honestly speaking, I don't think that one is necessary. If you have 1 million of livestock industry in Nigeria, you cannot solve the problem of the herders in Nigeria. People supposed to put more security than the ministry. Because the problem we are having now, what about those who migrate from Mali, Burkina Faso, and some other African countries in the name of Fulani? Who address that? Number two, cattle area business, private business, which government is supposed to have the way to handle it. Because the way we are doing in Nigeria, they don't do it in other countries, and that's why all this thing is escalating. To me, I want President Tinubu to build more security.
Okay.
Eh?
All right.
So the security issue, because if you have 1 million of military, the problem with
Okay. Mr. John from Owe, thank you so much. Our time is fast spent. We need to go. Okay, let's see. In 30 seconds. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm Gideon from Now, my one thing is, on this your I like your station. On this your station, there has been discussion on this, and Mr. Jim was about to need to have discussed this in the last few weeks, especially this issue of creating more ministries and that. You see, we play around in this country, we throw away money to, we all know the beginning and the end of all these things. We know the political correctness of all these things. You are just doing for that. Good morning, my friend.
All right, Mr. Jidakomo, thank you so much. Nigerians have spoken. Somebody to come will say thank you, a big thank you to you for coming on the program. This is what we're going to call it a wrap. The people have spoken. What the government will make out of these reactions, of course, only time will tell. Apologies, we can go further than this. I am Anu Moride. Bye for now.